Hey everybody, what's going on? Today is June 6th. It's the morning now, and I'm going to take the weight of the scale hives. So they're up over 100 pounds now. The yellow hive now weighs 110.5 pounds. And what's happened is we've just had 4 days of cold weather. Like, it's turned back cold. The daytime highs have been like 13 degrees Celsius. And it actually rained for 2 days straight and all that, so these colonies gained weight, and I'll show you on the graphs, but over the last 3 or 4 days they've actually been losing weight. So 110.5 for yellow, and our green colony is 110. Yeah, so they're sort of, since they sort of peaked, they've sort of been losing, it seems like, half a pound or a pound a day. Anyway, so one thing that I haven't talked about since the very start of these scale hive videos is the screen bottom boards and sticky board. So today the only thing I'm going to do is just slide in a sticky board, and this is for the purposes of monitoring mites. Okay, if you didn't check out the first scale hive video, you might not realize this is how our bottom boards work. I actually have a screen bottom board that the bees enter the colony on, and then below that there's a solid surface. So I custom built these so we can access it from the side because I don't have room at the back with the scales. So between my fingers going in here and the bees, there's actually a screen that mites can fall through, but the bees can't get through. So what I'd have in here all the time is just a sheet. Oh, there's a bee in there, a couple of bees in there. This is just a plastic. But you have to have something in there because you can't really access all this. You can't really access all this area to scrape out debris. So I have something in there that I can just every once in a while sort of clean it off, and you can have a look at it. But if I really want to, I'll scrape that off right now. But if I really want to monitor the mite drop in a colony, I'll use a sticky board. So what I've actually got is just a file folder, and I have coated this with like vegetable shortening as like a sticky surface. So the idea, I guess, is that if living mites drop down through the screen bottom board off the bees, they'll sort of get stuck with the vegetable shortening. They won't sort of crawl back up or crawl away, and so I'll get a more accurate count of the number of mites dropping per day. So I just slide this in here on top of the sheet of plastic, and I'm going to close it up, and I'm going to wait 3 days, and then I'll come back and count. So I'll get one on the other side too, and I'll see you in 3 days. Today's June 10th, it's actually 4 days later. Sorry, I ran out of time, but no problem, 4 days is fine. I'm going to pull out our sticky boards now, and we can count these mites. Okay, I'm just counting them on top of the hive lid here. As long as it's not a really windy day, this is okay. What sort of happened with the vegetable shortening I put on here, I probably didn't put enough, and it soaked into the file folder, so it's not exactly a sticky surface, but it's okay. So let me show you a close-up what these are like, and some of the other debris and stuff that you might see on here as well. So at the tip of this hive tool you can see one Varroa mite, and it's actually beside a grain of pollen. They're quite small, much smaller than the pollen loads that bees bring in. And here's a second Varroa mite that's actually a little lighter in color, so they're not all exactly the same looking. So you sort of have to develop an eye for what is a mite and what isn't. So after a really close inspection of everything on this sheet, I've found 3 Varroa mites here. So I said it was actually a 4-day drop, so we're under 1 mite dropping in a 24-hour period, which is really low. That's really good to see. I'm actually quite surprised. Let's look at the yellow hive. So it's a good idea to get your reading glasses or even have a magnifying glass out to look really closely. A small tool to sort of poke through the debris to make sure that you don't miss anything. If it's been a lot of days, there can often be a buildup of debris on the sticky boards as well. So you want to make sure that you're able to see every mite that's there. Okay, so I'm sort of disappointed, even though I shouldn't be, to say that I can't find any Varroa mites on the sticky board from our yellow colony. So that's a good thing. So what do these numbers really mean? Well, both of them are extremely low. This one undetectable mite levels, that one less than 1 mite dropping in a 24-hour period. And here in Ontario I go by our treatment recommendation thresholds that are put out in a document every year. And early in the season, typically like May before, or April before the honey flow starts, before we have honey supers on our colonies, we get an opportunity to treat, and the treatment threshold early in the season is actually 9 mites falling in a 24-hour period. And then later into the season, as mite levels are going to grow, that treatment threshold rises a little bit, and it's typically around 12 mites in a 24-hour period where we really need to be taking action. So we're definitely below any thresholds here in the month of June. If my mite levels were very high right now, and considering I have honey supers on my colonies, my treatment options are really limited. Here I'm in Ontario, Canada, and we have Mite Away Quick Strips, the formic acid product, registered for use with honey supers on. In other parts of the world that's going to be different though. I know in the States you have HopGuard 2 registered for use during honey flow times of year, so that's an option we don't have here in Canada, but you're going to have to look at your local regulations and see what's available to you. So this was the monitoring for the first week of June, and everything looks good, so I'm not going to worry about monitoring now for Varroa mites again for another month. So the first week in July I'll probably do sticky boards again and see if we're getting into more detectable levels of mites and make a decision there, but really from what I'm seeing now, mite levels should be under control until later in the summer. Okay, and then one last task. The weather's nice again, the bees should be gaining weight, so June 10th today I'm going to take one more reading. Our yellow hive, okay, wow, our yellow hive is at 118.5, and our green hive is at 116. So this yellow hive, with the large colony size, the population was really high, has really put on a lot of weight lately since we had a cold snap. Then the weather turned really good again, only for the last couple of days. And our black locusts, the flow's over now from what I can tell. It's sort of ended today or yesterday. But there's white clover out, there's all sorts of other things, bird's foot trefoil right now, so they're definitely bringing in a lot of honey right now. The green hive is doing really well too, but the yellow hive gained a lot just recently. So yeah, I'm not digging into these colonies today. I actually did one quick inspection, not on camera, about a week ago. If you remember, the last video was me doing that swarm prevention sort of routine that I go through in both of them, and we found a queen cell with an egg in it and a queen cell with actually a very young larva in it. And then when I came back last week, the green hive showed one more cell that had an egg but no larva, and the yellow colony showed no swarm cells at all. And they still had room in the supers, so I left them like that. I'll be back in just a few days and I'll go through that again and see what we're seeing, because they're going to need third supers very soon. So stay tuned for that in hopefully just a few days. So that was mite monitoring for early June. Go to the channel and check out the other scale hive videos. Like I said, they're there in a playlist. And thanks for watching.